Hello everyone. I am so grateful to be here, super pumped and blessed for this. I have some content to share today on DIY, do-it-yourself photography, bellies, babies, of course, and beyond. We're gonna go into children as well. My children now are 9, 6, and 3. But I did start photographing them before they were even born in my belly. So that was a decade ago. So I'm here to share with you everything that I've been learning between that point, way before that point even, up until now. And I'm so excited. This information is gonna help you take your photography to the next level. So let me work on super quickly sharing this out and making sure that I'm live. Let's see. Thank you so much. If you are logging on, please let me know where you're listening from. I'm still trying to make sure we're on. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right. Thank you for being patient. I'm sharing this out and I appreciate you so much. So first of all, I'm going to get into a little bit about why I'm doing this, why I chose photography as my creative art expression to express myself. I have been in the photography industry, for over a decade, specifically photographing bellies, babies, and newborns for the last 9.5 years. Literally, it's about exactly 10 years. So I'm really excited to now be here giving it all away to the world. Basically, my studio has changed a lot. I actually have photographers shooting in the studio with me, for me. We combine whatever we need to make it happen. I now am coaching and teaching and really just loving being able to offer the skills and the information to families at home that need to catch all those in-between moments, right? It's not only, the belly and then the baby's born, but we know that the memories and the milestones of our family never stop. It's a lifetime that we will be capturing our family's memories, and there's just nothing more beautiful to me than capturing your family and holding those memories close to your heart, and then being able to share them in generations, generation after generation, was always my goal with doing this, is being able to provide a legacy, for families. And I'm grateful now to be helping you provide your own legacy of your family at home, right? So my big why for dedicating my creativity to art of bellies and babies and beyond was my journey with infertility. Overcoming that, was a huge piece of my life, of my well-being, definitely, absolutely. And I most recently have been processing even further back in my life experiences, and I was informally adopted, and now I am actually looking to photograph birth mothers who are choosing adoption. So if you know anybody in the adoption community, if you know any families that are adopting or that in that area, please share this video with them. That is my mission. That is my real call for this here is to look for those that I can share my talents and skills with, that they're really going through some special life experiences, and bringing a new life into the world is absolutely special, and into your home, the most special. It's so close to my heart. I read recently that a birth mother puts the needs of her child above the wants of her heart, and that really moved me very deeply and led me to make that call for birth mothers to photograph you, and especially in the Washington, D.C., Annapolis, Maryland area. So thank you for coming here to learn. I appreciate you being here. Let's just jump right in. They say that the healthy, wealthy, and wise do choose education, and you are absolutely one of those three if you're here listening today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I've also included some inspiration and motivation to help nourish your heart and soul through this, because the basics and learning photography isn't always exciting right away, because you got to do the mundane things first. You got to learn your technical skills. You got to learn the settings, learn the functions, learn the numbers and the letters, and put all that into a beautiful working system before we can take it to the next level. So encouragement and heart work and soul work along the way is absolutely important and is going to keep you dedicated to learning, because it is going to be a little challenging in the beginning. You're going to have to rearrange your schedule sometimes to be able to carry around your camera more and practice, but it's worth it. Capturing your family's memories, you know, being that memory keeper is worth it. And these days, technology is on our side. So today, the topic we're really going to dig into is equipment. And first of all, we're just going to cover the basics. So don't worry, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. This is for beginners. If you know anyone that loves photography, please share this video out with them. This can apply to anybody photographing, but it's particularly going to be special and helpful for those having their babies, you know, pregnant with their first babies or any baby, and then growing their family. So that's where my heart is at. So families especially, please share this out. So there's endless options for technology and equipment. Obviously, even these days, many people are using their cell phone. So I do use my iPhone a lot for photographing. But I also have a professional camera. Well, this is actually a much lighter weight than all the Pro series that I had been using, and I'll share more on all the different kinds later. There's really not a lot of details you need to know about that and remember as far as equipment. I'll go over some things that'll be helpful for you. So if you're ready to level up from your phone photography, or if you have a camera that you haven't learned how to use yet, here's where we're going to get started. You got to get it out. So right now, if you have your camera and it's put away in the closet or it's put away in your camera bag, I want you to get it out. Get it out and keep it in your house somewhere where you can see it. That's the very first thing, because the more you see something, the more you're going to be reminded of it, the more you're going to connect with it. Keep it out, and that'll be your start. So really, your first step is just to get out your camera. That's it. Just get it out and set it out somewhere where you can see it, where you have access to it a lot. And then we're going to look into all the bells and whistles that the cameras have. So, you know, you think about looking for your perfect camera. It's like I get this question a lot. What camera do I get? What's the best camera for me? And really, you've got to decide that. I can't decide which camera is best for you, but if you're just starting out and if you're learning the basics and if you're a beginner, I can then absolutely recommend something. Finding the camera of your dreams is absolutely like finding your soulmate. It takes a few tries sometimes. We don't always get it the first time around. We have to keep trying and be dedicated and know that you're going to find something that you love. Honestly, the very first camera you get, you can absolutely fall in love with it if you use it enough and if you practice enough, like I did. So commit, believe that you can, and stay the course. It's going to take some practice. It's going to take a little bit of time to dig in, but I'm going to break it down into baby steps for you. So it's going to be simple and easy. You know, maybe you'll strike gold the first time. You know, maybe the very first camera you get, you do fall in love with. And I hope that that's the case for you, because that was the case for me. So the key is getting it out, and then we're going to get it into our hands eventually. So what's next? It's so miraculous, you know, this season of new life, expecting a miracle, bringing a baby into the world. I mean, it really does. When I'm in my maternity sessions, that spiritual essence of what is happening is just undeniable. It's so powerful. And the connection with my clients absolutely leads to what comes out in the image. So know that in order to really get into connecting to your children, to your family, to creating and to getting into the creativity is so fun and exciting, and we're going to do that. However, it does start with the technical stuff. So let's get into it. Cameras, back to cameras. Okay, so I started with a 35 millimeter. That tells you how long I've been photographing. My husband gave me a Canon Rebel for my very first digital camera, and we were living in Hawaii at the time, Oahu, stationed at Pearl Harbor, and I was very inspired and motivated to learn to use my camera because everything inspired me. It was so beautiful. The island is like a piece of heaven. If you've ever been to Hawaii, give me some hearts, or if you're going anytime soon, so beautiful, just a beautiful, beautiful, inspiring place. So one of my big recommendations to you is to start practicing photographing something that's not moving too much and something that you love. Now here with this course, obviously that's going to be your family, that's going to be your babies, but if you're popping by and you don't have a baby yet or a family, This, you can use this too. Okay, so let's get on to the next thing. So I started out with destination weddings in Hawaii. Obviously, that's the big market there, destination weddings. I met some wedding planners. I became an overnight wedding photographer. It was pretty miraculous. I was at the pinnacle. I felt like I was at the pinnacle of what I wanted to do in life until we had our first baby. And that's when I switched, and I absolutely had to capture that miracle, that new life, that beautiful season, and I just couldn't stop. I was photograph after photograph. I had my camera out all the time, every day, hundreds of pictures a day. So that gives you a hint of what you need to do to learn how to use your camera. You've got to get inspired and find what you love, and most of the time for us moms and parents, it's our family and our kids. You can hear them in there. So practice, 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 and that is going to get you absolutely where you want to be with your skills. It will, I promise, as long as you do it and be consistent. Be consistent. So each camera and device has its own functions and you know, the benefits and the features and all of the different settings that a camera has is different for each camera. So one of the things that you're going to look at when you're looking at cameras is cost. So absolutely, the cost will determine and easily let you know how many features and functions and like advanced capabilities your camera has. If you are looking at, you know, the entry-level cameras, they're going to start at about $400 and go up to about $700-800. You can get a good entry-level camera between those ranges that have all that you need. All that you need. You really, really don't need something crazy and advanced and expensive when you're just starting, because you won't use all of it anyways for a very long time. Again, we're going to start with the basics, and that's going to help you in your journey too if you start with something basic. When I first got my camera, honestly, the first thing I did, and I still have it, so Abigail, if you're watching or if you pop in, I sold this camera a long time ago, but I couldn't find the manual, and I to this day still have it. And that's the first thing I did when I got my camera. So I recommend to do that. Read your manual. It sounds super boring, but that's the only way you're going to know what your camera does, is by reading your manual. So do that. Start with something basic. So lenses and lights. Okay, so again, we're going to keep it super basic, and we're going to start with lenses. You don't need a lot. You know, I started with something just like this. This is a really small, lightweight lens. It's called a prime lens. It doesn't zoom in and out. So this is not a prime lens. It is much bigger. It zooms in and out. It's much heavier, but I started with the prime lens, and I recommend you do the same thing because it's less variables that you have to consider when you're learning the technical side of things. You know, the least amount of variables is good. So start with the prime lens, and I recommend a 50 millimeter. It's the most common. It's what most photographers doing portraits are using these days. They call it a nifty 50, very popular. So start with the 50 millimeter maybe. You can take a look. Lighting. I am just super big on natural light. I've always used natural light. I began learning to use with natural light, and I'll tell you, it does give you a step ahead because learning, okay, you know, this language of light takes time. The way to start is just to start looking at the light. Just look and pay attention to where the light comes from, what color the light is. You want to pick an area in your home, and you want to monitor the light from morning until night so that you know the difference across the day and where the light hits and how it hits and all of that. So choose maybe one room, and you're going to photograph like the entire room throughout the day so that you can get ideas of what the light looks like throughout the day. And that'll help you learn how to start noticing light, because you really just got to watch it and take a look at it first. 99% of the time in our studio we use natural light. I have pulled out a couple lights at some time for maternity sessions for that more fine art black and white look. But learning to use natural light has given me so much flexibility because now I can literally photograph anywhere with a very lightweight camera bag. I don't need lights. I don't need a bunch of stuff. And I can photograph anywhere. It's super flexible, and it gives you the option to really be able to work anywhere if you can learn to use natural light. If you want to learn lights, then I can connect you with some of my photographer friends that do more studio lighting. than me. So start looking at the light. You're going to look for angles. You're going to look for shadows. You're going to look for different times of day and how it's different, right? So just start looking at the light. What other equipment? Okay, so if you do want a light, here's what I do recommend. So my camera does not have a flash up here. If you're going to get a basic amateur level camera, it will have a flash. So it will pop up. Now, I never did use that flash very much because it leaves a lot of shadows. It just didn't give me the look I was looking for, that nice, professional, soft. It was very hard light. So I never used that light. I bought it's called an off-camera flash, and you can get one for like $100 or something like that. And you can put it on your, this is called a hot shoe. You can put it on here and you can bounce your flash. So if you're going to use an off-camera flash, you want to use it bounced. So you can basically point it up and you're going to bounce it off the wall or off the ceiling. You want to make sure you're probably bouncing off of a neutral colored wall as well, not like green or pink or something like that. That's it for lighting. Honestly, I keep it super basic. I don't use a lot of stuff. So what other cameras have I used and am I familiar with? I used a Canon 5D Mark II. That's what I started my portrait business with. And then I used a Nikon D3S when I started doing more newborns in my personal studio on my property because I have a lot of low light situation days. And Nikon is amazing, specifically the D3S or anything newer for low light, stellar in low light situations. Again, gives me more flexibility. I can photograph at different times of day. I have more options. And now I use this one, which is a Sony A7 II. And the reason I switched to Sony is because this one is more lightweight and I just needed more lightweight equipment. So what else do we need to look at? There's something called a camera strap. It sounds basic, but honestly, the one that comes with the camera is not very comfortable, so I always add my own super, super soft strap because I want it to be as comfortable as possible. I don't have to be worrying that my neck is itching while I'm trying to like capture the essence of this newborn, right? So you don't have to worry about all this stuff. So make it as comfortable as possible. So I always buy something comfortable like that for my strap. You're gonna want a remote, especially since you're gonna be taking your own pictures at home. You need a remote. That goes well with your camera, and you can just Google whatever your camera is and then you say remote after it and it'll pop up some options. I always have extra batteries. I have like 4 or 5 batteries because I always want to make sure I have them charged. You can connect your camera to your computer directly to upload your images. The images are saved on a disc like this. It's called a CF card, and you can connect your camera straight to your computer. I find that that's a little bit slower of an upload. I also shoot pretty large images, so I use something like this, and it is called a card reader, and you just plug it into your computer, you plug in the card, and it's super quick. I also use faster reading cards. So if you look at your little cards, they'll have numbers on them, and this one, like for instance, is a 32 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte. There's different sizes, so you want to know what size. Again, if you're just starting out and if you're shooting in JPEG, we'll get into all those details later, but if you're just starting out basics, you don't need a very big card with a very big number, so the cost won't be much for you there. And then, so I think that's it for that. And then let me look. Hi, thank you everyone for joining me live. I see you guys listening and I so appreciate you. Let me see if there's any questions. Is it necessary for a macro lens? Okay, so yes, if you are going to get, for me, photographing newborns and even bellies, I get up close to that baby belly. I get that belly button popping out and all that stuff. So I do use a macro lens. And all you gotta do is just make sure that on your lens, there is a flower. It's, neither of these are macros, but there will be a little flower sign on the lens and it'll be specifically for macro because yes, so another detail, we're gonna go into a few more details about lenses. Some don't allow you, there's something called a focal distance and you can't have your subject too close to your camera. So that's where you want to have a macro lens if you like to get super close to your subjects and if you're especially photographing little tiny details like toes, fingers, eyelashes, things like that. So yeah, you want to look at macro if you're going to get up close. because a regular lens won't do it. It'll be constantly blurry. So if you have issues with focusing, a lot of times, like that was a super big pop for me in my first years of business, when I realized that my focusing problems was just simply I was too close to my subject. I didn't even know what focal distance was. I taught myself all this stuff and learned. It took me a long time to learn everything. So I'm hoping that I can save you some time, guys. Hi, Melanie. Thanks for joining. Paolo, thank you for the question. Yes, if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in there and I will answer anything for you. So lenses, this is actually my favorite topic here because I have found that this is just a huge pop for me. And again, I use the word pop, a point of passion. My business mentor taught me that, and I just love that word because it really, really describes what happens when you get this idea, right? Or this like realization early on that to create an image that is beyond my technical skills, a good lens can transcend your skills, my friend. So if you get a basic camera, get a lens that might be a little bit more of an upgrade, but to be honest, all the 50mm lenses are beautiful and amazing. There is entry-level 50mm lenses. It costs less than $100. So start there because a good lens will make a difference in your images. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see, so we're gonna master the mundane. This is mastering the mundane. And then later on in this week, I'm gonna get into being more creative and connecting more with kids and babies and, how to get those good images. How do I get those images of them all smiling and laughing? I'm gonna share that with you. Let's sit on this side over here. I have a couple nuggets for older children as well. My kids are 9, 6, and 3 now.
9?
Yeah, Marina's 9. And I'll list my favorite. I have a list of my favorite lenses in the book. You're going to get an ebook, a workbook, after this course is over at the end of next week that I have written and am still writing over this week as I'm adding more content. And I'm going to give you that. So this will, I'm going through the basics here on the video, but the book will have way more information for you.
Put this in there.
Mm-hmm. We'll have way more information for you. The thing too is you want to look at whichever fits your financial budget in the beginning. You really don't need to worry about what the settings are. I mean, maybe if it has a video, so if you want a camera and lens setup that also do video, make sure that your camera has a video function. But that's about the only thing to really think of as far as what to look at. So personally, another thing is if you've ever wanted to, start your own business, I'm here to tell you that you can, without a degree, without a lot of experience. I don't have a college degree. I learned a lot of it on my own. I have had mentors and coaches now through the years, but you really can. You can do anything you want. Don't let the beginning technical stuff scare you. Once you get through this piece, I'm telling you, it's all fun and games. All fun and games. Okay, let's see. Let me take a look here and see what else we have for you. The different cameras. I went through that. So camera bag. My favorite camera bag was a Kelly Moore bag. I just want to mention that. Forgot to say that. Back for the equipment. Okay, back to lenses. Let's see. I'm reading my notes. So you're also, this is another thing to remember is when you first start photographing and looking for your equipment, again, I relate it to finding your soulmate because you're not going to know what you really are going to get. You might know what you're looking for as far as images, right? You know what you want to create. But when you're getting your equipment, you really don't know. You're going to have to get some practice in to really know what each piece of equipment does and what your personal style is. Then what happens is as you go through along and as you progress and you find your style and you evolve and you learn all that you need to learn and then you start getting really creative, that's when you'll start looking at more of the details of what the lens is, like how far does it zoom, what is the light capabilities, and so many more issues, pieces of information that I'll include later as you get to that point. But right now we're going to keep it super basic. We're not just documenting events, right? Moms, dads, families, grandmas, aunts, and uncles. We are incorporating who we are as we're taking these images of our family. we are capturing literally, I mean, I feel like in my description, I do feel like we're capturing the spiritual essence of your family, who your family is, and what generations to come are going to see and know of what their history was. Just so beautiful and inspiring to me. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, yeah, so the last piece here today, I think I covered everything. Again, if you have any other questions. Adapters. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have used adapters. There are adapters, and they're like rings, and you can attach lenses that maybe are a different brand to your camera, or you can do an extender where you can make it to where it zooms in more than the lens typically does. And, you know, for everyday use, for family photography, I would say go for it. Use the adapters. Use whatever makes it easy and convenient for you. In the professional world, I didn't do that. I made sure that the lens was going to get me what I wanted, to where I didn't have that middle piece between my camera and my lens. I wanted just the camera and the lens and to know what I was going to get. So I didn't use adapters too much, but I do know photographers that do. So absolutely, if you find one that works for you, go for it. Definitely. Let's see. Let me take a look and see here. So we shoot all kinds of stuff in the studio, and I'm going to be covering information on traditional posing, but also a lot on lifestyle, a lot on really just getting into the really connecting with your family is the important part. You know, when we're photographing, what we're really looking for is not a picture. What we're really looking for is a connection and an emotion, right? It's beautiful when you can see a black and white image and feel colorful, feel vibrant, when you're just looking at like something that actually doesn't have color. And the way that happens is you connect with the client, my client, you connect with your child's and your friends and your family's emotions. You connect with who they are, with that special season that they're in. And let me tell you, there's nothing more special, this is just my opinion, than when you are carrying life within you. Just super powerful. So that's one of the biggest passions why I'm here sharing this with you. I love you all so much. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to really get on the live from day one. Again, there's going to be more information in your ebook that you're going to get after this course. And I look forward to sending that to you next week. Anybody that joins my lives will get the ebook. And please share if you know any photographers. And if you have any questions come up as you're getting your camera out, as you're looking at, you know, equipment, as you're moving forward, please feel free to send me a private message on Facebook, Rita Lawrence, Rita L. Lawrence, or you can also post a message on the photography Facebook page right here, Bitsy Baby Photography. You can post any questions in the links here. If you found value, please type a 1, give me some hearts, let me know that love is in the air. I sure love you guys, and I just love being able to share this with you. So I'm going to let you go for today, and I sure hope that you have a very, very blessed rest of your week, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye.